So as a platform that's hoping to serve as some sort of growth and inspiration, I think it's really important that I reach out to you guys and be completely transparent with my journey and my struggles and the things that I've faced. So I'm not just spewing you a bunch of bull crap, I'm telling you how I've completely transformed my life and my perspective of myself and my anxiety. So I'm going to start with the dark stuff. From the time I was a really young girl, as long as I can remember, even being like 3 years old, I was a really anxious child. I worried about every little thing. But when I was in 4th grade in New York, you have these state exams. And I remember being so anxious in the morning. I felt like that friggin' 4th grade science exam was going to change the course of my entire life, to the point where I was throwing up in the morning before. Going off of that, every single year when I ran the mile run in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, I would run to the point of throwing up. I beat all of the boys, I set some records, but I would just push myself so hard. I was so hard on myself pretty much my entire life. I was just a really high-strung kid. And then by the time I was in 6th grade, I got a really severe case of Lyme's disease. I first got bit, I tested positive in 9 out of 10 strains. I was so sick. And when I first started taking a certain type of antibiotic, it was working and I was getting better, but it was summertime and I was getting burnt in the sun. So I had to end up switching my medication, and from there, everything went so downhill. I was sick for probably 1.5 to 2 years, and no medication was working. I ended up having an IV in my arm for 1.5 months and pumping medicine into it twice a day. I was just so lost and so sick, and I was probably only 12 years old at that time. So that was my first experience with a deep, dark depression, and it kind of changed my perspective throughout the rest of my life, because I was really young and couldn't really comprehend what I was feeling, but I was so scared of life and so scared of myself. And through my anxiety, I had convinced myself that I was never going to get better. I had all of these crazy, scary, overwhelming thoughts, and I was terrified of myself. I remember there were times where I would come home from school and no one would be home, and I would have to stay outside on my trampoline because I was so scared I would kill myself. And it was crazy because I didn't want to kill myself. I didn't hate myself. I was just so scared that I would have some kind of impulsive reaction and would. And that's the only way I can explain it. I was just living in this constant state of fear. So this was an extremely dark chapter of my life, and about 2 months after I had the IV in my arm, I started feeling a little bit better. And then luckily, a few months down the road, I started playing really competitive soccer. So I was about 13 at this time, and I joined a really competitive premier soccer team. And this type of routine forced me out of my own head and gave me something else to focus on and kind of regiment my thoughts on. And this was the first time I really started to turn around and see how much structure helped me in my own life. So at this point in life, my anxiety started to maintain itself and slow down, and I was getting out of this really dark time, but I still had anxious thoughts in a lot of things that I did. Okay, so my light just went out, but I don't really care. I'm just going to continue with what I was talking about. So I kind of dealt with this lingering anxiety, this stressing about things that don't matter, this worrying and being sensitive to other people's opinions of me and all of that, up until about my junior year of college, when I really started to figure myself out. And this is where I'm starting with my number one thing to change your anxiety and your perspective of yourself, is to surround yourself in better environments with better people. I didn't even realize that in my own life I was always kind of a healer and a helper, so I would attract kind of damaged people that would oftentimes bring me down, but I would always be trying to support them. So I didn't realize how much underlying anxiety that was causing me, because my friends would be competitive with me or look down upon me or judge me in certain ways for things that I was doing so harmlessly. And I didn't even realize until I pulled myself out of that toxic environment, no longer surrounding myself with people who talk shit, with people who are insecure about themselves and put their insecurities on me, no longer trying to heal everyone. That's when I really started to take time to be able to take time for myself. that's when I started surrounding myself with confident people. And I think the most refreshing thing about hanging out with confident people and surrounding yourself with confident people is confident people are so good within themselves that they don't put their negativity and their insecurities onto you, and instead they help you grow. It's more about passion and values and things that truly fuel your desires, and those kind of friendships are the ones that give you the time to start to experience yourself because they support you in that process. So start branching out and hanging out with people who inspire you. Even if you feel like you're not there yet, they will help bring you there. Stop surrounding yourself with people lower than you or that bring you down just because it's comfortable, because they make you feel good, because you know you have a leg up, because that's never going to push you outside of your comfort zone to become the better version of yourself, to become that confident version of you, like those people that you admire. So once you cut out those toxic people and take a step back and truly realize how they're influencing your life, it then gives you the freedom to just open up and fully love yourself. And this brings me to the second point, which expanded my awareness of myself and released my anxiety far more than anything in my entire life, and that is the mindful practices of journaling and meditation. So I have been journaling for about 2 years now, and when I first started, I remember looking at the page and not even being able to understand where my head was. I would write something because I thought it was what I was feeling at the time, but I had just gone out of a breakup and I was so lost with my sense of self, I didn't even really know how I felt. I remember I would go to write something down and I would be judging myself as I was writing, scribbling things out, stopping myself mid-sentence, and my head was just all over the place, and it was really frustrating. But I decided that it was a practice that I needed to make for myself, especially because I'm not someone who puts my burdens onto other people. And this can be a fault because I am kind of the healer for all of my friends. I am the one that everyone comes to as an outlet for advice and perspective because I love to listen and help people. But I have a weird complex with myself where I don't put my shit onto anyone. So as I just talked about all of those anxious times in my life, if you had seen me outside, you would absolutely never know I would be walking around with a smile brighter than anything on my face. I'm just not someone who shows how I feel. So because of this, I always suppressed all of my feelings. I was never really facing them myself. I was never really getting them out. And it just caused me so much underlying stress that I didn't even really know that I had until I took the time to reflect on it. So slowly through journaling, I was becoming more aware of myself through making this daily practice. I started by just trying to recall what happened in that day and then write a little bit about how I was feeling and processing those events. So I could at least connect, okay, I'm sad now. What happened earlier in this day? Okay, that's why I'm feeling sad. Or I'm feeling happy now. What happened earlier in the day that made me happy? Okay, that makes sense. And kind of just connecting the dots and truly experiencing my emotions and not just have all these feelings I couldn't make sense of. So as I slowly began to journal more, I started losing so much of the structure. There are some days now that I will literally write for 50 minutes straight, just like a meditative state, spewing my emotions, just pouring it onto the page. And there are still some times that I struggle to get my emotions out and recall. But through doing this, I have become so much more aware of my current situation, and it has given me such a freedom to release things myself, to let them go, to observe them factually for what they truly are, not just what my mind is making me believe because of my distorted emotions in that moment. So then about a year and a half ago, I took this a step further and I began immersing myself in meditation. This was a decision I made because I had started off with just 5 minutes daily in the gym every day. So I would go to the gym and then in the sauna, instead of just sitting there sweating, losing my mind, I would put a pair of headphones in and do a 5 to 10 minute guided meditation. And I didn't really think much of it at first, and then a week later after doing it, I stopped and I was like, man, I feel really good all of a sudden. Like my days were just better. And I stopped and I was like, you know what? I've been meditating every single day. So at this point, I decided to make it a daily practice for myself. And this began with meditating for 20 minutes a day and then 30 minutes a day. And then about 2 or 3 weeks into that practice of daily immersion, I was able to meditate for about an hour a day. And so last summer for me was an extremely transformative time of my life. I went through all of my emotions, every heartache, every lost friendship, all the pain and guilt I'd been holding for mistakes I made in my own life, and I forced myself to just face them, observe them for the reality, and then let them go. And what I realized through doing that was there were so many things I was holding in my subconscious, doubts about myself and insecurities, that tied back to previous situations that I had never faced, and I never knew that the two were connected. But once I was able to reflect and connect them, I could then let them go and no longer have that judgment toward myself in the present. And one example of this is that I had a friend in high school and we had a pretty toxic relationship. As I said, I would kind of always attract damaged people and try to help them and try to heal them and try to make them better, just because it's something I've done innately since the time I was young. So I had this friend and we had a great time together, shared so many amazing experiences, but there was always a really strange jealousy complex. I never had issues making friends, I never had issues being social, and I kind of brought her into that lifestyle. But for some reason, even though I was always such this selfless giving friend, trying to help her heal and become better and always giving her my endless support, there was a strange aspect to our relationships that she would always bash me in certain ways. Like, she was trying to get above me. And one of the ways she did this was she would bash my intelligence. So she took like maybe 2 more AP classes than I did in high school, and would just always tell me like I was dumb. And I kind of just internalized that I was not an intelligent person. And then that translated to college. I went to a really good business school, and I remember getting into college thinking like, I don't belong here, like how am I gonna do it? And then like I carried this with me my entire life. Like, I just always would get really anxious when I was going to speak or discuss a conversation or a topic. It was always this lingering feeling like I'm not smart. Then I was able to reflect on that friendship. We're no longer friends anymore. We ended that friendship in high school, but I was able to reflect on that friendship and understand and connect the dots that the reason I doubt my intelligence in the present moment is just because she had used that in a way to put me down in the past. And once I connected that, I was like, no, fuck that. Like, I am smart. Like, I'm doing fucking awesome in college. Like, I graduated with honors. Like, I just was able to like release that grip on myself, and it gave me so much freedom and so much confidence in myself to just know like I am smart. I am capable of anything I put my mind to, and that stupid person let me think so lowly of myself. So this is just one example, but I faced so many things in my life through meditation, and it's really hard and really overwhelming and can be really scary. But if you do it in small steps, you're able to face all of the things you've been bottling for so long and just let them go and release them and be here in the present and take experiences as they come, as newness, and not have any preconceived judgment because of your previous experiences, because every single moment is new, even if it does feel familiar. So after you reflect on your pain and your experiences that have shaped you, you can then understand who you truly are on a values level, on the things that you care about, on the way you interact in social situations, and where you're comfortable in life. And this cuts out so much anxiety in general, because you know you're getting yourself into situations and places and hobbies that you truly enjoy, that are truly in line with who you are as a person. Once you do this, you begin losing the care of what other people think about you, of how you're perceived, because you know who you are, and you know that the people you're surrounding yourself with also know who you are. So you just are more present in your experiences and less caring of what people who don't understand you think about you, because you are you, you know you like you surround yourself with people who like you, and that's all that matters, because that is life. Life is living in this present moment. So just some ways that this has played into my own life. I told you that I was absolutely terrified of being on my own. I would get so scared of my own mind and my own thoughts that I had to distract myself with all of these things. And it started small. It started with me, going into the city alone, or going out to eat alone, or just taking these little steps by myself. And then that branched into me traveling to Milan, Italy by myself for this semester and meeting all of these amazing people. And then that ended up going into the summer of me working and living in Boston alone, and then going on the road trip with strangers. And now I'm moving to freaking Bali by myself. I'm sorry if you can hear music right now. I'm living in a boys' house. It's just the reality. So back to what I was saying. But it's just all about small steps. Growth is about small steps. It's not all going to happen right away. If you had told me a year and a half ago that I would be moving to Asia completely by myself and be so excited looking forward to it, I would have told you you were out of your mind, crazy person, that I would have way too much anxiety and way too much stress and pressure and fear of doing that I would never even think about it. And now to me it just feels kind of normal, and it's just such a beautiful way to live, being in tune with what you desire and what you're passionate about. And it lets all of that external stress go because you know you're living for yourself, in alignment with yourself, not off of what society wants you to do or thinks you should be. And I know that this video can seem like a lot right now, and if I had watched this before I started this mindful journey within myself, it would have seemed like a lot for me too. But the thing is, it's just starting one day at a time. I was exactly in your shoes, starting from day one before, failing a few times, but eventually I got it and I made the commitment to myself, and it changed my life in more ways than I could have even imagined. So just start with 5 minutes of journaling every night before bed. Just make it a commitment to yourself. Start with a 5-minute meditation in the morning to start off your day with a positive mindset, or stopping and breathing and just listening to your breath when you feel yourself becoming stressed or anxious, because you and your mind and having control and awareness, that is your biggest tool for conquering your anxiety and becoming the happiest, most grounded and peaceful version of yourself. And the reality is, if there's anything that you're going to do in this lifetime, why not make a commitment to yourself? Because you and your mindset and the way you view and understand yourself in life, that's how you see the world. That's what's going to shift every single experience that you have in your life and make your life just completely reversed and so much more beautiful and so much less fearful and so much more optimistic. So start today with just adapting one more practice that you're not doing right now. For me, I'm making sure that I'm meditating every single day for 30 minutes, and I'm trying to journal for at least 15 minutes every single night before bed, just to really stay grounded in the present, expand my awareness, and account for the beautiful and painful things that have happened in my day so far. I will do a deeper dive into meditation and journaling in another video, because I think it's extremely important for you guys to have a little bit more knowledge on how to get started. But for now, I'm going to put some awesome links in the comments box here so you guys can go and check out some guided meditations, some intros to journaling, just some ways to practice mindfulness and just begin building these beautiful new habits that will completely transform the trajectory of your entire life. So thank you guys for listening. I am so excited again to see where this channel goes, to continue growing with you guys, and I hope that you guys are continuing to get some stuff out of this. I really am proud of you guys for sticking with this video and for taking the first steps for yourself. I know it can be scary, I know it can be overwhelming, but I am here as your support system the entire way. So if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you liked it and subscribe to my channel so you can continue staying alert with my content, and comment anything down below, little lifestyle hacks that you have found that helped your life. Even if it's just, for me, sometimes it's like mindfully brushing my teeth and paying attention to get in every crack. I'm always looking for new things to adapt, and I'm sure other people are as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next Thursday. Goodbye, people.